Okay, so we are here to discuss the new Archspire song that was released today at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Season of Mist YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's an insanely fast lyric video for the title track on the new album. It's called Bleed the Future. Um, I knew I was going to be blown away, but so first thing I want to talk about is the vocal speed and the lyrical technical proficiency. So Ali is doing his thing as usual, but the vocals are particularly fast on this one. I mean, he's notorious for the shotgun vocals, but his vocals on Bleed the Future, the title track, um, are just insanely fast. And I think part of the reason is one thing he usually talks about is how he syncs up his syllables with Spencer Pruitt snare hits. So I think a lot of Ollie's even faster vocals on this already really fucking fast song have to do with how fast Spencer is blasting for the majority of the song. This is a big time endurance song. Like just the speed that everyone is playing at for the length of time that they are playing these incredibly fast sections, that alone is impressive. But as usual, you know, this song has a ton of grooves, hooks, and melodies that also make Archspire really stand out against other tech death bands. So they're not just it's not just fret vomit, as I like to call it, and it's not just senseless screaming. Like even Ali has said many times in interviews that when he gets a song title in his mind for the song, he'll make sure that he says it at least once in the song, and usually there's a chorus. And that's another thing that kind of sticks out that makes them stand out. Just the simple fact that Archspire has choruses, that I think is really cool. It's important to have a hook. It's important to write music that gets stuck in people's heads, no matter how fast or how technical your songs are. Like it's important to infect someone's mind with your music. Um, Going to the Archspire Mythos. Um, Talked a lot about the AUM, or the AUM, as I like to call them. The telepathic cult that is experimenting with human biology, and Ali talks a lot about the AUM on Lucid Collective and Relentless Mutation, the last two albums. And I saw that the last track on Bleed the Future, track 8, is called AUM, so I don't know if that means we'll get some more insight onto the telepathic cult or if it's him kind of wrapping up that storyline. But in terms of the Archspire Mythos, for those of you who take deep dives into the lyrics like I do, Bleed the Future is interesting because he's introducing shape-shifting aliens into the mythos. Uh, we saw the beginning of this with the album cover, and it's the head of a shape-shifting alien, and the front, the left hand side of the cover, the wide open mouth and the golden vomit, that would be your true form, the alien's original form, and then the back side of the head, the right side of the image, is turning into a human skull, as you'll see. And if you look closely at the golden vomit coming out of the creature's mouth, um, it's manifesting human replicants or doppelgangers, if you will. You'll see fully formed human bodies or just body parts. It's a pretty interesting concept. And the lyrics of the title track on Bleed the Future talk about um, aliens from a parallel dimension, uh, basically being birthed through newborn humans while they're still in the womb and living off of the umbilical cords of the adult host bodies. And then when the human female gives birth, uh, what I took from it was they're no longer giving birth to a human being; they're giving birth to one of these boa net creatures or whatever he's referring to in the lyrics. He talks about the boa net and how they uh, lived on Earth and had plotted their eventual gestation uh, before there was any other life on the planet, and that it was the life forming on Earth which drew them to our universe, our plane of existence. So, with that in mind, I'm curious to see if that will tie in with the AUM, and I would like to see. I would love to see a tie in there to give it kind of an X Files feel, and basically point out that the telepathic cult was operating under the behest of these shape shifting aliens. And that would make it, for me, more interesting than just, uh, you know, a superior race of humans, these telepaths, experimenting with the biology of a lesser species, the lesser evolved humans. And it would be nice to see if this could somehow turn into a story where the telepaths are gifted the gene that makes them telepaths by these aliens. These aliens enhanced certain humans to carry out their bidding and perform these gruesome experiments on humans born without the gene. So I don't think anybody. I haven't heard too many people take deep dives into Archspire's lyrics like this, but that's where I'm hoping he's going with this, and I hope there really is a concept to it all, and I hope I'm on the right track. That's what I would love to see. Guitars. Um, I love the verse riff in this song. Again, it's a big time endurance song. There's a lot of, alternate picking, double picking, and straight up tremolo from what I heard. I could be wrong about the techniques, but just tons of speed, tons of right hand, but not that the left hand is anything to turn your nose up at. Toby and Dean are both incredible players, and they're just crazy busy this whole song. So uh, I love the verse riff. It's got a real like tech death dream theater vibe to it. It's you'll hear it if you haven't heard it yet. But yeah, that was just the very first thing that came to mind, was that it was kind of like a Petrucci riff, but in that diminished scale, that proggy time signature, little bit of a groove on the drums, a nice break for Spencer, at least getting away from the blast for a little bit. Um, there's a clean break in this song that is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful section, and it gives everybody in the band an opportunity to stop. It gives the listener a chance to just stop and take a breath and take in this beautiful melody. And the melody of this clean break sets up the distorted part that follows perfectly. Like it's a prelude to the big melody of the song, which is the next section where the distortion clicks back on, and the drums and bass jump back in, and the vocals jump back in, and it's just this soaring melody that starts off clean, goes distorted, and then Spencer goes crazy on the blast, and then the lyrics resume. And it's such a big moment. It's such a big, powerful moment, but it's the catchiest point in the song. It's a big break in the song. It really stands out. If it's your first time hearing the song, I think that is the part that will stick out the most to anyone. And then eventually, you'll go back in and you'll nitpick every little thing in all the fast sections, and like most people like to do. I mean, this song's been up for a few hours. I'm sure there are already at least 5 YouTube covers of the full song, just people learning it by ear. Um, I saw a couple really good ones of Golden Mouth of Ruin that came out not too long after the song dropped. So there are a lot of people out there who just pick this shit up by ear, really proficient players who, and I can't wait to watch them. Um, for the bass, this is something Jared Smith does a lot, and I can't tell if it's just his tonality, the tonality coming off his fingers, or if he's using some different effects, but definitely has a sci-fi and robotic quality to a lot of what he's playing, and it matches the theme of the lyrics so well, especially in this song, which is very, very. This album, I feel, is even more sci-fi driven than the others. The others were closer to horror, but this album, with the introduction of the shape-shifting aliens, is closer to sci-fi than I think anything the band's released yet. And Jared is doing a lot of tapping sections and cool runs that have a very almost like a robotic twang to them. and the notes really pop under the guitars, and they're mixed beautifully by Dave Otero. I probably just butchered his last name. I'm really bad with last names, but I think it's Dave Otero, their sound engineer at Flatline. Um, the bass was mixed in just beautifully. It just sits right in line with everything, just not on top, not below, just perfectly in the middle, and it just has this mechanical twang to it that I love. And you can just, if you listen for it, you can hear every single note that he's playing. And that's one thing I love about tech death in general is that, these tech death bands, they want to show off their bass players. They love their bass players. You know, put the bass player front and center, give him a solo in every fucking song. I mean, when you're talking Archspire, I mean, for a lot of like less technical bands, every section of every Archspire song can be considered a bass solo. So yeah, I love the audio production and the playing as well. And again, getting into drums, I mean, it's a super endurance song, especially for Spencer, and how fast these blasts are, how fast this double bass is in so many of these sections. And there are little accents and little speed ups and slow downs within these rolls, within these fills that you have to listen for, and real quick cymbal accents, and all the bells and whistles that make it's more than just blasting 16th notes or beyond, in a straight line. Like if you were to look at these drums at the studio on a grid to the BPM, you wouldn't just see a steady machine gun like factor moving straight across the stream. There are so many little intricacies happening with the drums that you have to listen for in every Archspire song. And there are two things that Spencer has talked about in his videos before that I would assume he really took into account with this song and made use of with this song, the title track. And it's something that's come to be known as the switch blast. And what he's more or less described it as is he's doing fours on the snare drum, switching hands between the snare and the cymbal that he's riding at the time. So you'll get 4 snare hits with the right, 4 snare hits with the left. And that allows him to conserve energy in his arms by constantly switching like that. And I can't remember his footrest technique, but he was talking about how he doesn't go heel up anymore. He doesn't leave his feet flat anymore when he's doing double bass, because he didn't like rocking side to side and feeling like his bones were, becoming disjointed. So I can't remember exactly what he does now, but he has this new footrest technique, while doing insanely fast double bass that allows him to conserve energy there as well. So I'd love to read up more on that. I don't play drums anymore. I used to. Currently play guitar, and I just watch a lot of Dean Lamb. And he is doing a huge guitar lesson package for riffhard.com. So check out riffhard.com or deanlamb.com for some really cool fucking tutorials, especially involving alternate picking and hybrid picking and just a million little tricks that will add new techniques to your arsenal and enhance your lead play tenfold. So if you play guitar, like, Dean has a ton of content out on YouTube, and he's just a great person to watch and learn from. Super funny guy too, and very chill. Like if you take his lessons and go back and forth with him on Zoom or something, like, he's a very personable guy. So yeah, I guess that closes out this talk. I just wanted to talk about this song for a bit because I had to take it in a few times. I was gonna do a straight reaction video, but like I'm not set up for those, and it looks and sounds like shit. Anyways, I just wanted to listen to the song a few times and really take it in as well. Because the last time I tried to do one for Golden Mouth, and I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about because everything was happening so fast. With Archspire, I like to take a step back, sit down, read the lyrics at normal speed, listen to the music transpire 4 or 5 times per song, and really grasp everything that's going on. because it's true what they say. Like if you nod off for a second or if you blink, you will miss something. Um, all right, so I guess that's all I have to say about the new Archspire single that dropped today, "Bleed the Future." I think we left off on a good note. Yeah, I will see you guys soon with more content. Our Black Sabbath podcast continues. We're going to be talking, Billy Page and myself will be talking about Headless Cross tonight. And yeah, we'll get into more reaction videos when I'm equipped to do so. And a new podcast series, which I'm excited to talk about when the Black Sabbath stuff ends. So yeah, stay tuned, hit the subscribe if you're liking what Wretched Sound is doing. And yeah, I'll check you guys later. Thanks for checking this out.